You know, at that time too, I was a full-time musician. I did not have a job. When I began 10 years ago, the story I had a full-time job at the time too. But then 5 years ago, I didn't. So it was a terrifying thing to say, how am I really going to succeed at this if I'm not seeing the kind of growth that I wanted, even with these new opportunities? So then what do? I decide to come back home to Ghana. Even more terrifying. How many people left and came back? Yeah, it's rough, huh? But it was exciting at the same time because, like I said, I never meant to leave for that long. So I came back in December 2011, so it's been 3.5 years. Whew. And one of the things that happened then was we did a concert, made some money, and then we decided that, okay, we're going to do what every good business would do, invest in yourself, make some moves to try and take things to the next level. So we said, okay, we're going to leave Ghana. We should go to either Nigeria or South Africa because those are the places. South Africa is a media center. Nigeria is the numbers and the money. So what do? And we thought through it and we decided we're going to go to South Africa for about 3 weeks. And this is where, of course, connection once again is important. We hadn't been to South Africa before. So what do? We go through, who do we know in South Africa who's been there? Then I turn again to Fiona. But basically, a lot of the connections that we had made online, Kojo Bafo, Fiona, Lee Kasumba, who was the head of Channel O, I connected with her on Twitter before she even went to Channel O, I believe. All these people are the people that we connected to, and we said, yo, we're coming. Let's just meet. Tell us what's happening. Tell us about the landscape, etc. Fortunately, we were a bit prepared. We had a new music video we had coming. So it's like, okay, blah, blah, we have a conversation. Yeah, check this new video out. Yeah, who do you think? How do we get on Trace MTV base? Oh, I know the person who runs this. So the connections that we made online ballooned into more connections. And I think that was, for me, that was very crucial because if I had come home, spent 6 months at home, trying to build something in Ghana alone, it would not have worked. It had to be an African strategy. And going to South Africa and connecting to all these people we know who helped connect us with other people. You connected us with, Fiona connected us to Joby, who listened to the stuff and said, look, you need to meet Proverb. We recorded a song the same day we met. And a lot of people heard that song. And so that was very crucial. It was still the do-it-yourself strategy, which I had learned by kickstarting my career on MySpace. And then also not being afraid to connect with people online. And then those connections can become real, It's not just about going online as people do today and trolling and having fun with the latest trending topic, etc. No, these connections can be real. So the lessons I learned there are that you are able, in terms of connection on the online social media space, we've been able to foster connections that are long lasting, beyond the tweets, beyond the Facebook post. And also during that time, also realizing that, yes, we had those connections, but we had to do things offline that mattered. Like in terms of taking money out of our pockets, booking a bed and breakfast, flying over there. So there has to be synergy between your offline moves and your online moves. So you have to have a general strategy of sorts. We are not in that space yet here. I think for you to believe you can stay online and it's going to work, you have to have a synergy. So that was the transition period. Actually, how many people have heard the song I did with Double HP? Okay, a couple, yeah. It was, I remember going to South Africa that first trip. That's when I met Double HP. We didn't even record. He just took me to his barber. He was like, you need a barber guy? Yeah, I have a barber. I can take you there. And we connected, and then from then, we did a lot of that. So that trip was crucial. And if it wasn't for our connections that we had in the social media space, I don't think we could have had a successful trip in that regard. And so now I'm going to fast forward a bit to the now. And the now really is not really just now, but really into forecasting into the future and how we run our operation. I always say we because really it takes more than one person to do this. I mean, my whole team is heavily invested. My manager does probably more work than I do. Hallelujah. You need a good manager. So then to the now, I'm going to talk about other different stories about what's going on, what's been going on since I came back, because a lot has gone on that has been still with social media involvement. So I remember when I came back, the first year I performed on 1 or 2 shows in Ghana, and I even performed on Big Brother Africa that year. And so there was a bit of buzz online, etc., in the Ghana media space. But then the thing people always used to say is, oh, M.anifest, but only people on Twitter know him. But only people on Facebook know him. Like, what, these people on Twitter and Facebook, they don't live in real life. That's what I was wondering, like, they don't count? Okay, but they did count. And what we're doing offline was being amplified by these people there. And it became evident through some of the opportunities that we got that it was resonating. I mean, in the first year that I was there, a fabric company approached me because they wanted to do a new campaign to basically attract Generation Y, the younger generation, because basically they had their client base had grown with them, and they needed to have a new campaign to connect. And they came to me as one of 3 brand ambassadors then to be like, well, we've seen what you do, you seem to connect well, etc. I didn't have more than 5,000 Twitter followers. I didn't have more than 20,000 Facebook fans. But I think the quality of the engagement and sort of how they saw that combined with what I was doing offline seemed as an opportunity. Maybe it's also because I probably came cheaper then. I don't know, but then. So opportunities like that started coming up, so we realized, okay, there's something interesting here, because clearly what they wanted to do with us was not to necessarily the billboards and radio ads, but it was more about, okay, weekly tweets or taking pictures and posting them in these outfits, etc. So it was basically about the business opportunity had a lot to do with my interaction on the, what do you call it, on social media. And then moving on ahead as things got bigger, because we began rapidly moving both offline and online in terms of what we are doing, then other opportunities came up that were also interesting. For example, I was a judge on one of these, the biggest singing competition in Ghana, one of these reality shows. Did you guys have a similar one here? What? No, there's no like Zimbabwean Idol or something? What? Starbright. Okay. So I was actually, I was a judge on one of these shows. And so one of the questions I did ask the company later on is that, of all the people, why this guy? You know what I mean? Because obviously I know there will be a range of options, and there are definitely people who had a higher profile and etc. But I think what happened is they actually do research, market research, where they, especially with in this case, the student base, where they put together a group of names, etc. And I think my name was not even in the initial list, but my name kept coming up and ended up on the top of the list. Because these people that they are researching are people who are also on that online space. People are who they go to Twitter and maybe the first thing they want to see is what I tweeted, whether to troll me or whether to support me, encourage me. So these things they've been good. So it's an interesting time in that regard. And 3 years later, 180,000 or more Twitter followers, 300,000 Facebook likes or whatever later, people cannot disregard sort of what I do online and how it influences, how it has an impact, basically, as well as what I'm doing offline. What we've discovered is that we need that synergy, and so now, obviously, we use our online presence, which is quite strong relatively in Ghana and in the top sphere or whatever, to basically be able to connect directly with the audience. We don't need the middleman. We don't need to pay payola. Is that payola in Zimbabwe? Pay for play. We don't. You go to some TV stations in Ghana, and they want you to pay money before they air content, which is really backwards, because you are giving them content for free, and they are putting an adverts in between content. So it's rather backward. So at some point, what we try to do is galvanize our following online to be able to have these things become big. Some of the times when we release a video now, we don't take it to the TV station, and it's already playing. they ripped it off YouTube. And I'm like, things have changed, but because of the kind of attention it gets, I mean, we released a new video, I think 4 days ago, and in an hour on the Ghana Twitter trends, it was #1. So clearly the people who want people to pay attention to content that people like are going to then pay attention. And so now, I mean, I'm a bit mortified that they rip it off YouTube because it's not the best quality. But now that's how things have changed in terms of we can get that attention. There's also been other things, that are also important. In growing, we need to control sort of what is coming out of the M.anifest camp in a sense. And shout outs to all the bloggers and African media here, but that sphere of people, not you guys, can be very into controversy and other things that are not necessarily what you are trying to put out there. One of the things that we have found out is being able to communicate directly, and then people picking up news stories from my tweets. Yes, some of my tweets end up on the 7 o'clock news in Ghana, and I don't know how that happens. It's a simple tweet. It's important to do that, to be able to clarify. Recently, just yesterday actually, before I was getting here, I realized that I was being used to promote a show in Ghana that I'm not on. So I just tweeted 3 things of, no adversarial things, but just clarifying, saying we have to be fair and straightforward. By the time I tweeted it when I was in the airport in Joburg, by the time I landed here, all of other blogs, etc., and I'd had a chance to say it my way, not according to so-and-so who had so-and-so who had so-and-so. M.anifest believes that these guys did so-and-so. So that's also been very useful. And I'm going to, I guess, finally complete, and we can dialogue a bit more, by just saying that, look, coming back to the beginning, that yes, we have not reached that stage. I don't think a digital star, a star can be produced yet from the digital space in Africa. I haven't had one being produced. It's not the same as in the States where The Weeknd or Frank Ocean or even Drake or Kendrick Lamar, whatever. These are people who are built from the digital space, and it forces radio and TV and other people to pay attention. We're not yet there, but definitely because the world of music has changed, and now when a terminology, a new term comes from Atlanta, whether it's lit or way up or turn up, before you realize in every corner and crevice in Africa, people know that term because of social media and are also using it. So the world has changed. There's that connection. So because of that, we know that our audience is bigger, or our potential audience is bigger, our potential possibilities in terms of even as an African music scene is bigger. And I've always believed that if you're an African artist, you can't look at things from the perspective of your country. You have to see Africa as your base, because that's the only way in which even on social media these things will work, because that's where the numbers will add up. So yeah, there are opportunities, but and definitely there are business opportunities that come up, like I've illustrated, and there are more coming. I mean, we've recently reached a space where actually companies are approaching us to say, well, we're about to do a campaign. How much will it cost for you to tweet a number of times about it? Getting to that space is actually interesting. And the fact that we have to spend time to actually do a bit of calculation using Twitter analytics and all these sorts of things. So it's a good space to be in. I'm not complaining, but it's still very far from producing or being monetized in a way in which it matters. Yesterday I was having another conversation, the same conversation I had in which I was told about, what's the guy's name? Turkey Vibes. I was saying that, well, the thing is, after a certain threshold of being popular online as an African artist, if you're not monetizing it, it's of no use, because then the difference between 100,000 and 1 million followers is not reflected in your bank account or anything of the sort. So it's about those. That's the current challenge, these strategies, and I hopefully this conference will begin to think about it, because nobody's selling music. Well, some people in South Africa are selling music, but not really on that level where it's going to pay for all these expensive videos we are shooting and all these other things. It takes to take things to the next level, because we're not competing locally anymore. We are producing locally, but we're competing globally, and it's important that the standards are that high. So that's where I'm going to really end, with the fact that these are opportunities, but there's a lot to be done. And it cannot be haphazard. It needs to be strategized. Yes, there are certain things about social media space which is amazing, which is that as an artist, if you're spending even just 30 minutes of your day Instagramming or updating and then connecting to audiences and other people in a genuine way, a lot can come out of it. It's very tough because you're going through your day and doing things, and to sit down and say, oh, what do I tweet? But if it becomes a habit and something that you can do, you're not spending as much time, but then the rewards and the possible connections you can have to people to that matter, to potential collaborators, to the audiences that say, yo, I just saw this guy on TV, and then I'm going to check out his Twitter profile. This and the like. There are all these opportunities, and I'll end with that and say I remember once reading an article, which I'm sure was written before the social media era, but I wish I remember who wrote it, and I should have researched it. Pardon me, but I remember it said every artist needs only 1,000 true fans. That was the philosophy, that you need 1,000 true core fans who will basically. They're the people who buy everything you do, who when people come to their house, they force them to listen to your music. You know those annoying people when you get into their car, like, yo, hear this thing, hear this thing. Yeah, you need those people. And those people, how do you find those people? Now we have a new opportunity where you can actually connect with people on that deep level online. And those people are very serious about what you do. When you post something, they'll retweet it, they'll argue with everybody and say that you're the best thing that ever happened. They need to listen to you, etc. And you can find that. So I think for me at least, I think I've been able to find a good amount of those 1,000 true fans online, and then my work offline has helped to encourage and galvanize those fans to really support what I do. And I'm looking forward to taking this to the absolute next level, but there is power in connecting. So thank you.